Okay. Yeah. Wow, Caroline, we are alive.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, we have technical difficulties, which I absolutely anticipated. It's like, wow, when do you go live? You don't have difficult. I don't know. But anyway, my name is Miri Cordaro, and I have my friend, partner in crime, Caroline. And this is the first time we're doing actually our podcast. We're going to start it. It's not going to be perfect today, but just bear with us. And I'm going to have Caroline to introduce herself. So please, Caroline, tell us who you are, why we're here, and all kind of good stuff.
Yes, thank you, Mary. We are here because we are partners in crime in learning everything about money. And sometimes I guess that can lead to crime, but our purpose is to learn everything we can about how money works. Some people call it the game of money. And
Mhm.
I was just playing the game of Risk last night with my kids, and I've only played it once before. And it is so hard to win by not really knowing all the rules. And I would
Absolutely.
say the same is true for money. We oftentimes start out with life really excited about all the possibilities, but we really have not learned the rules of the game of financial education.
Oh, wow, so true, huh? It's really
Yes.
is true. And let me just add a little bit something. Your story about not knowing the rules of the game. It's like when I ever started a new game that I have never played, it's like you like in the black. It's like, okay, where am I
Oh,
doing? And it's like really hard.
yes,
You,
and then usually say, don't tell me all the rules. I just learn as we
yeah,
go.
as we're going on, and it
And
does
it's
not work
totally
that
the
way.
way most people enter the world of financial matters is they just learn as they go. And then you get knocked down because you didn't know the strategy and you poorly planned.
You're
And then
right.
you're losing because of just not knowing any better. And
Yeah,
so even last
not
night,
knowing what you don't know.
yeah,
That's
when I kind of
happening,
hung
right?
into the game longer than I would have anticipated, but I was like,
Absolutely.
okay, I want to play again so that now I have more knowledge because I have more experience.
Mhm.
I know why you guys are still in the game and I'm not. And
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
and I never really thought of how true that is when it comes to handling money and our finances and how much I really needed to know in the equation and not just rely on someone else to tell me what's the best choice. Um,
Mhm.
and that's actually how you and I met was we were
Correct.
on this journey of, all right, I've got to figure this out. And we started out, well, I don't know exactly where you started, but where we met up together was through real estate.
Well,
And
that's exactly where I started. I knew nothing. When I say nothing, I feel like it's awesome to be what I chose to be, a stay-home mom. But it's not awesome not to educate myself through that time about finance because I thought, in my mind, and I think it's something that I've seen a lot in our society when moms, especially women that decide to stay home, they just think, okay, our husband's going to take care of it. We don't need to know. I really truly thought I didn't want to know. Why do I need to know? And now I regret it, literally.
well, I didn't really realize I didn't know. I thought I was pretty smart because I was handling the finances. I paid the bills. I balanced the
I
checkbook.
never did. Never did.
Oh, okay. Well, and you're not alone. I mean,
I
that
know.
really was the era that was before us, where the man handled that part of things. He worked
Mhm.
for a company that provided him a pension, and as long as he stayed there in that job all of his life, he was going to be the family was going to be taken care of, and
Absolutely.
there wasn't any part of our parents realizing that things were changing and
Mhm.
we weren't really aware of that until we became aware later in life by recognizing
Exactly.
that where we were financially wasn't where we thought we wanted to be and thought we were going to be, and then yeah, and as a result of our parents not, at least, I mean, I have met people whose parents were really good about sitting them down and
Mhm.
teaching them, but that wasn't my family.
Well, that's the reason why we wanted to do it, so we can get our children, our young adult,
Mhm.
prepared and give them really good understanding so they can choose what the path they want to take. Um,
Yeah, and
so,
it's It's interesting because my youngest, I have 8 children, and my youngest is 22, and he had a motorcycle when he was in high school, and then, when he went off to college, and also did a service mission for our church for 2 years, he sold the motorcycle, and he goes, "Mom, guess what I'm thinking about buying again?" And obviously, I really don't want him to buy a motorcycle,
I
but
know, I know.
it's his money and his choice. But I said, I really don't want you buying that motorcycle and using that money for buying the motorcycle until you've started a plan for your future.
That's awesome.
And yeah, but he looked at me like, yeah, yeah, mom, sure. You
Mhm,
think you want to teach me those things. And that's why I recognize that
mhm,
we have to start really young, teaching our
mhm.
children about money so that their relationship with it and
Yeah. The
their
healthy one.
practice, yeah, it's a healthy one, and
Mhm.
it's second nature to always have be paying themselves first.
I know. That what a concept is that? I remember when even I think I learned we learned it a little bit in real estate when people you pay yourself first. Like, what does that mean? What
Mhm.
really is mean? It literally means first.
Yeah,
So
before any of your creditors, any of your debtors,
everything.
any of your
Yes.
anyone else.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
take care of yourself first and not think. I mean, it is scary to get those phone calls, but I've had them in my life where they're saying, "Where's your payment? Why haven't you paid it?" And you may be in a situation, and I've been in a situation where my husband was out of work, and we were just trying to juggle all the
Yeah.
things associated
Hmm.
with that, and I just felt like I have to pay him right now. I'm gonna like they're gonna come to my door and apprehend me and cart me off to the, which is really not true. You can everyone wants to know when they're getting paid, and you give them the best information, and
Absolutely.
they'll figure out a way to wait. They may call you every day, but you
Hmm.
can't trade paying off bill collectors for not paying yourself anything at all.
No,
And you're
absolutely.
left with nothing, and you've given
Oh
it
yeah,
all.
they're making money already. I mean, they made already money on interest and all kind of things. Okay, well that's awesome. What I would like to, if what do you think about we pivot a little bit, just tell everybody. So what is it that we're doing here? What is that? I know I'm quite new to it, but I'm so excited. You've been doing it for 5 years.
Yep.
But just maybe a little bit so our audience, whoever gonna hear it later or just what we're doing here.
Well, I think primarily, not I think, we
Mm,
think primarily it is that education about
mhm,
money and the question of where do I need to put my money and
mhm,
where what's going to give me that financial freedom down the road. And
mhm.
the reality is we are not educated well enough in our choices about where to put our money. And we
Yes.
tend to do the group think when it comes to where do I
Yeah,
put my
whatever
money.
everybody does.
Yes, we that must be it. That must be the path.
Right.
And for me, I started 10 years ago just asking that question, what did I miss? What do my kids need to do? What's working, what's not working?
Mhm,
And it's
mhm.
been really eye-opening how much the
Absolutely.
traditional path of retirement is not working for the
It's
majority
not.
here.
Look at all the people. It's like I was actually talking to my friend the other day. She said, "Yeah, it's kind of an amazing every time you go in and not to say no work that you earn respectfully we're going to put down, but really
Oh,
honestly when we look at people, so many older people working in Costco and in Walmart. There's nothing wrong with it. It's really not. But I don't really believe that all of those older people really want to be there. They
yeah.
need to supplement their income because whatever they did, and everybody's different, a different journey. They chose different things. Some people did a little bit better than other, but still, it seems like it's not enough for them to
No, there's
retire
enough
on.
studies
It's
out
just
there
not
now
enough.
showing it that people are not having the retirement income they thought they would.
Don't.
But also here was the problem that people were contributing to retirement plans
Mhm.
without knowing what it was going to offer
What's
them.
the outcome? What's
Yes,
the
what's the
really
outcome?
end up? They don't.
It
And
was
I
just
didn't.
contributing. So they're putting money
Mhm,
somewhere, but they aren't really sure what's happening to it, why it's happening,
mhm.
and then what the outcome will be once they do decide to retire.
Exactly.
And
Mhm.
that's where I'm trying to instill in my children that time is everything.
Time is everything. Actually, time is everything in anything. It doesn't matter what you do because time is not redeemable. You cannot redeem time. Money you can always make, but time, when it's past, it's gone.
It's
So,
gone. And the problem with that relating to planning for your future is
mhm,
the longer you wait, the less you have in your future.
exactly.
As
Well,
you have ability
I know
to
that.
make
I
it.
know that because even though if I looked at our life, and I'm married to my husband 32 years, and he worked really hard and earned pretty good money, by the way, by all definition. Excuse me. And he was contributing for 401k, and we had some Roth. But I can tell you, there's no way in the world that we could have retired on that kind of money. Just no way. There's
Yeah.
just no way, unless I wanted to live on $30,000 a year, which is not even. It's like how Curtis says about it. He said something. He uses a word for it. It's insanity. It doesn't
Yeah,
even make
it's
sense.
insanity, but and with that, it's just we didn't know any better. We didn't
No, you
know
thought, oh my
knew.
gosh, I have $500,000. Wow, it's a lot of money.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
it's
It's
not,
not.
and especially now with the dollar becoming worth less and
Mhm.
less as we print more and more money, which when you're busy with life, you're really not paying attention to that because you're worried
Right.
about what's happening with your family. Are you taking care
Mhm.
of your needs today? And I being in this industry for the last 5 years, I've met so many people that life has just happened.
It does. You don't know when. You
No,
really don't know. That's why starting early is good when you're young and healthy. Because if something happened down the road, you have some way how to negate that and
yes.
not feel stressed about it, right?
Yes, and the other part of it is, well, just today, not today for me, but just our world
Mm.
today is
Mhm.
changing so rapidly. I look back at COVID. I don't know if you remember this, but I felt like we were in this earthquake, and I was kind of holding on to everything because you didn't know what announcement was happening tomorrow about
I know.
down, or if I was going to get toilet paper to buy
It
it.
was crazy. It was really I actually thought people were
It was,
quite crazy.
and I thought we just don't know when something else like that's going
You
to
really
happen.
don't. You really don't.
And then the other part of that, in our real estate community, one of the people that I met, he talked about his sleep well at night account, and I
No, I like that.
that has to be the motto for life of what does it take to
Mhm.
sleep well at night,
Yes.
knowing that you have your affairs in order. So if anything like a COVID, where not
Mhm.
necessarily an epidemic, but who knows what might happen to society where things are
Mhm.
unstable and changing rapidly.
Mhm.
What can I do that's stable and gives me confidence that come what may, I've got money, I've got goods, I've my kids, we have a plan,
Mhm.
and it just allows you to be in a situation of taking that
Yeah,
really can keep you up at night concern away.
absolutely. No, it's so true. It's so true. Well, I come from a different culture, as you know, and different country, and I don't even remember. Actually, my dad did pretty good, but I don't think he knew how to handle money well. But I can tell you that I had no concept. I never had bad relationship per se with money. I didn't think like a lot of people say, "Oh, money is evil," or all kind of thing. I never had that, but
No,
I
me
never
either.
understood. Okay, how can I live? How can I manage it in a way that it makes sense? That it makes sense that I don't spend everything, or I don't, or how do I never even thought about future. I mean, gosh, that was the last thing I had in my mind. So,
Yeah, I mean, I used to babysit a ton, and
mhm.
I would just kind of drop the dollar bills all over my dresser. I just loved seeing all
Oh, this
that.
is so funny.
Yeah, and I never really thought of not having it, even though I didn't grow up. I remember when my stepfather passed away and we were kind of going through his dresser drawer and he had pay stubs. And I thought, wow, he never really earned more than 25 to 30,000 a year as a pharmacist.
Wow. And pharmacists. Oh my gosh.
We were a family of six, four kids,
Jeez.
and and I know that there were a lot of things we did without, but the necessities we always had, and we
Yeah.
always went on a family vacation. It
Mhm.
wasn't elaborate.
But it was, yeah.
Ate out occasionally, but not a lot. And if we wanted something, then that's why I did all the babysitting. We
Yeah.
paid for
Hmm.
myself. But and I kind of took this idea that I was just things were going to take care of themselves without, like playing that game last night, without having any specific strategy involved. I
I
didn't.
don't really like that game. It's very hard.
Well,
My
it's a
boys
lot
like
of
it.
roll the
Oh my
dice,
gosh.
luck, and we could approach money the same way. I was
Hmm.
talking with another friend
Absolutely.
one time, and we both said, we just thought next year would be better.
Right. It's always, well, but that's the mentality. Well, I can't afford it right now. Next time, when I have this, when I have that. No, this is
I
this
wasn't
is
doing
actually
anything
an
different to
attitude.
make next year any better. I was still living with
Mhm.
the same principles in place of
No, exactly.
spend money. That's going to make all the difference.
Well, to have a different result, you have to do a different things. You cannot have different result if you don't change the way you think. You really have to totally change the way you think. So,
Well, first you have to recognize how you are thinking. That
well,
was part of
exactly,
my problem.
exactly.
Is I didn't realize that my thinking needed a significant upgrade.
Well, that's part of the reason why we want to educate everybody, and you and I as well have passion, especially for young people, to start early, and which is great. I think they have time, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So okay, so we talked a little bit about how we were not prepared, how most of people have probably not really good education for finance, even today, as if we are in an era that academia was like the thing. You have to go to college, you have to get degrees, but even those people had no idea how to run. Even look, actually, let me think about it. They always says like dentists, for example, doctors, they were very well in their job, but they had no idea how to actually run a business or how to actually manage money, which is really interesting. You think is it just shows that they don't learn. Nobody teaches
Mm.
us, so we need to change that, right? That's what
Yes,
I think.
yes, that is
Definitely change
exactly
it.
why we said. And granted, it's complicated. There
No,
is
you're
so
right.
much to learn, and you
Mhm.
and I have been at it now the last 10 years. I tell people I wanted to learn everything. I want no stone unturned.
Mhm.
I I want to also be in a position that when I'm talking with people, I'm not just advising them because someone else advised me. I'm
Mhm.
advising them because I personally researched it. I
Yeah.
personally
Mhm.
put these principles into practice, and
Mhm.
I've also seen what it's done for other people.
Yes.
So that's an important part of the equation is that I just wanted to know everything, not just a little bit here and a little bit there, but everything.
Wow. Okay, so since we have like about 5 more minutes, we're going to try to keep it for 30 minutes, at
Yeah.
least for the beginning. What, because we're going to cover different topics in the financial world, which how would you describe it? The plans that it's like it's retirement, but it's through life insurance, which is totally different.
Yes. Yes, exactly. It's cash value life insurance.
Mhm.
Uh, Everyone knows the importance of insurance. We have insurance on our car. We have
On
insurance
everything,
on
right?
our house. We have insurance on a lot of things, but we don't often think about life insurance and
The
insuring our
retirement.
lives, and that can also be a retirement plan.
Yes, which is amazing. I never even thought about putting those together. To me,
Oh,
life insurance was life insurance for when I die, maybe my kids can have a little bit money or stuff like that. I
right.
never even thought. And this is wow, it's a game changer, in my opinion, isn't it?
It is totally a game changer. And also, I've noticed as well that oftentimes we think about the importance of insuring the husband, and the wife doesn't have nearly, if she has any coverage, it isn't as significant as the husband. And I
You're
said,
right, because in my situation, it's exactly the same. It's
yeah,
exactly.
I'd be on a plane going somewhere by myself, and I think, okay, I don't think the plane's going to crash because if it's left up to my husband to provide the home life for
They're
my
gonna
kids,
they're gonna starve.
they're going to starve to death. He doesn't cook. He doesn't really even know when anything's going on unless he smells smoke or
Oh my
someone's
gosh,
green
isn't it
fire.
funny?
You know,
I
like
know,
it's
I
just not
know.
in his wheelhouse to be as in tune to everything in the family. And I thought, oh my gosh, he would have had to get married quick to manage a family of 8.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know why I didn't think I ever needed life insurance until I understood more the tool and the resource and the retirement plan for that cash value life insurance can be used
Yeah,
for.
well, actually, I didn't even think about life insurance. I think Alan did the life insurance on me, and it's actually the worst one, probably term, which is
Well,
I never
it's
understood what terms mean. It's like it's to have a term. It's finishing.
yeah, well, at
It's
least
not
it's
forever.
yeah, well, and we know plenty of people who have got their health situation has changed
Oh,
dramatically.
you can, but you know what? In reality, doesn't matter your age. Listen, you can have an accident
Yeah.
and your life can alter it. I mean, I've met people close to me that had accident and their life got altered and life changes. You don't really, so we don't promise tomorrow. So if we are healthy today, let's take care of ourselves
Yes.
now when we're healthy and when we can do it. And then it will play well for us if we do that. So
Yeah, and then the last part I think that we were going to
mm,
touch on too is just a part of being the importance of being part of communities who are seeking
yes.
after this
Mhm.
knowledge, so that you can talk amongst yourselves. You're a group of people. You're not just a single individual asking, "Wait,
Right.
is what they're saying really? Does that really work? Is that really right?" Is
You're right. Mhm.
we and that's how we got together too, is just saying, oh, somebody else who thinks like me, who's seeking after
Mhm.
answers to our questions and wanting to find the right solutions to change our lives and our future, but then the next generation as well.
Yes, yes. So before we close here, what I would love to tell everybody that I think maybe next week we're going to cover, let's talk about the traditional, maybe the way it's being done versus other option that we have. Just kind of an overview first before we get to the nitty gritty of, more like digging in because there's so much to learn, as you said, and can be very confusing because there's a lot of information.
Yeah.
But it would be good to start just comparing two things. Like, okay, what we are traditionally been doing,
For
why
retirement.
it's not working, and what's the other option that there are there that people can educate themselves and say, okay, wow, I really need to look at that. To just pick an interest enough for people to say, yeah, I really need to take time to do that. And I
Yes.
think that's a great, if I get people to say, yeah, I really would like to dig into, I feel like I'm winning already. I want everybody to win. I really do. I want
Yeah.
everybody to win.
Yes. And feel confident, and also
Absolutely.
even have the opportunity to retire earlier. Like
Oh my
now,
gosh, can you imagine?
7. What if you were retiring at 55?
Yeah,
And
well, I'm past 55, so that's not going to happen for me.
I know,
So,
no,
but imagine that. It doesn't mean I would have not worked, obviously.
right.
But imagine having already income coming from 55 and on, and you have to worry about it. But then I did really more of what I really love. And of
Right,
course,
without
I
that
don't think
pressure of, "I have to make money, I have to make money." It's
exactly. You
more
feel
that
that
I
you
love
have to
it.
have money coming in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is, I think that's probably the biggest fear that people have, not having enough. And
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
an awful fear. And it's something that we need to learn how to overcome that. And it's only through education, only through knowing options. And so, yeah, I
Yeah,
love it.
I just take the example just in
Mm,
closing of my
yeah,
uncle who, he was in his 80s, and, went to visit him, and he was in a care center down in Florida,
mhm,
retired down there, and I always thought of him as my wealthy uncle 'cause I
yeah.
thought it was so cool. He had the lake house, the motorboat, the ski
Okay.
boat,
He had all the toys.
he had all the things, plus he could go to Florida every winter and
Mm.
enjoy himself there, the motorhome, but that was all that he was worried about, was he was gonna run out of money.
Isn't that sad?
It
That's
was so sad because he'd lived a really full life, and I thought, "Oh, I do not wanna be him." I
no.
and